It's 12, isn't it? It's almost 12. I think we've got as many people as we know. So first and foremost, thank you very much for all coming along to this panel. Much like the previous one, that of similar vein that I ran last year, I always underestimate the amount of interest any of these panels will have, and as such put in as not enough work for the amount of attention that they get. So I just want to say thank you very much, and also apologise for the level of jank that this panel will have. I was literally putting it up together 5 minutes ago, so hopefully you will enjoy. I want this to be a bit of fun. I wanted it to be quite a deep dive and very informative. However, I will preface this entire thing right now. If you do a cursory search of the words British or UK folklore and legends and giant robots, you will get one word, and that is Gundam. 90% of most references to do with anything that has a touch on the British Isles in Japanese media will be found in a Gundam series. I wanted it to be much more than that. I wanted it to be, for preface, I did a similar thing last year, but it was more broadly adapted to just anything, but obviously this year, mecha themed, so I wanted it to be very much a mecha themed panel. Thus, you're very easy. You have things like Shin Megami Tensei that steals from every single folklore going. You've got things like Durarara, which features a lot of Celtic folklore through things like the Dulahan, which is Celti, one of the main characters in the series. However, as I say, it's the Very British Guide to Giant Robots should basically say the Very British Guide to Gundam robots that have British influences, and then a little bit at the side that hopefully will pad out this presentation to be more than just 10 minutes. So we will launch right into things. Probably the first series that I found, and it was the first thing. Literally, you Google what's got King Arthur and what's got robots. The first thing that comes across is this series, which is SD Gundam World Heroes. If you are unaware what an SD Gundam is, or you have no idea about grades for model kits, when you buy a Gundam model kit, it will normally come in typically one of 4 grades, which is high grade, master grade, perfect grade, no grade, whatever. But SD, and SD, which stands for super deformed, little squat, chibi, very easy to put together model kits of a lot of the famous Gundams. As time went on, they used this as an inspiration to create various sub-series of Gundam where they took those chibi robots and put them into different situations. This series in particular, is a big mashup of just lots of different historic figures from across different nations. You have your Lubus from the Warring States, you have Nobunaga and his ambition, and King Arthur is one of the robots in this series. So hopefully this will play. Hopefully I won't get a big ad blocker beforehand. And hopefully there will be sound. No, there is no sound. Hooray!
Do they cut sounds?
This doesn't even have a jack.
Just me turning up on the soundboard.
Oh God, possibly.
It depends if that HDMI sound.
It might be that. I don't even. Oh wait, I do know that. Let's find out. For context, this music is like this series is from 2021. So very poppy, pop rocky, female lead singer singing. But yeah, it is very much like half of the robots are very much. Oh, there you go.
That's exactly what we were doing.
It is very much, this is what I would imagine the theme song is.
Trust me, I already
It's so strange to see them with little chibi, but not chibi.
There you go. We're... Oh, right. I want to go to the next slide, you all. Right, let's go ahead. Yeah, that'll do. Present. There we go. SD card of goodness. So yeah, very much this was a series to push toys to kids. All of these, when you buy an SD model kit, they are like the most basic of things. If you want the colours, they have stickers. If you want articulation, don't. But if you do have a way with paints and whatnot, they can be made to look pretty cool. Also, when you think about the word super deformed, kind of sounds a bit ableist, really, when you think about the term at the end of the day. But again, super deformed is not something that was created by Gundam. It's a term that chibi came from the idea of, you know, let's take our character and make it squish. They just made the Gundams out of that as well. But yes, most importantly, out of the factions, so you got your Lubu faction, you got your Sengoku faction, there is the King Arthur faction, basically. So you have the King Arthur Gundam, the Merlin Gundam, and the Robin Hood Gundam.
Sure. Absolutely.
Obviously,
Why not?
King Robin Hood, famously one of the Knights of the Round Table. However, if you are watching Strange Fate, there is a tenuous connection between King Arthur and Robin Hood if you really squint. And just for note, so this picture, the King Arthur, this is a fully painted build. So this is one of the professionals at Bandai has painted this to look as pretty as possible. The middle one is a 3D render that is literally ripped directly from the anime. And then the one at the end is a 3D render of the model kit. So that is not real, but it's made to look like as if it was real. If you ever see a Hasbro pre-release for any of their toys, but they come up, you'll see that, oh, that toy picture looks a bit weird. It's because it's actually a 3D render. It's not actually the real toy. So there you go. Here we go. Now we get onto the more interesting relations to British myth, legend, folklore, and whatnot. So yeah, Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn. What have we got down there? Much like many Gundam series, so if you are unaware of the Gundam series whatsoever, there is one main timeline called the Universal Century, and this is one of the stories near the end-ish of the Universal Century. It's after the original Gundam series, but the basic premise is the same. Shadow soldiers, war is bad, people don't get most of the message, and it goes over their head, and they think, well, cool robots. The main thing of Unicorn is there's a lot of fan service in it. If you can think of a bad guy Mobile Suit that was ever in any of the previous series of Gundams, it is in this series because one of the main enemy factions, the Sleeves, they are a guerrilla unit, they are off the grid. So they use a lot of old mobile suits that don't get used anymore. So you see all of the old shitty, well, I say shitty, as in, you know, there's the Zigoks and the things that look like weird guys with crab hands and stuff like that. But if you are coming into this completely fresh, don't know anything about Gundam, it is generally quite self-contained. You can watch it without having any knowledge about the Gundam series whatsoever. It helps, but you know, you can enjoy the story of Manager Lynx and his Unicorn Gundam and the mysterious blonde guy who is definitely not Shah Aznavour. And this is just a video just to illustrate that it's cool. Here's the main mobile suit from Gundam Unicorn transforming. And this is an anime from 2010. This is all CGI as well, for the most part. But, and it looks pretty decent, which is to say a lot of CGI anime nowadays doesn't look as good as this does. You get it. It does the same thing across 7 episodes. Pew pew, giant robots. But why is this here today? That is because of this little tapestry called The Lady and the Unicorn. In the center, you have the lady. On the right, you have the unicorn. Technically, that's a lion. It could just be one of the handmaidens that they couldn't quite draw right at the day. Unsure.
Drawn by someone who's only ever seen a stuffed lion.
A stuffed lion that was made by a blind man. And also there's a little doggy. The doggy appears sometimes in these. For brief context, this is straight from Wikipedia, so, whatever. But The Lady Unicorn is a modern title given to a series of 6 tapestries. So each of the 6 tapestries has a lady and a unicorn. They don't mention the lion in all of in the series, but the lion appears in all of them as well. Woven in Flanders from wool and silk from designs, cartoons, drawn in Paris around 1500, set in display at the Musée de Cluny in Paris. So there you go. But what's that? Oh, it's a unicorn. Our Gundam unicorn. This isn't tenuous. In episodes of the anime, this tapestry is literally shown in the anime. It is a direct, this is literally what we based the theming off of, is this picture with Audrey, main character, female lead, not her actual name, but spoilers if you haven't seen it. She's represented as the lady in the picture, the unicorn. But you think to yourself, if you have any knowledge about Gundam Unicorn, that's called the Banshee, right? Again, Banshee, obviously, if you're unaware, Banshee is a vengeful spirit from Gaelic and Celtic folklore, kind of a harbinger of ill times or woe. If you hear the shriek of the Banshee, you or somebody else you probably know is probably going to die, so it's not a good thing to hear about them. So yeah, this is called the Banshee Norn, specifically. Original versions of Banshee, it's called the Norn because it's got specifically, it's got the crest around its back. The original Banshee has a big grabby claw, and this one's got a regular handgun and a beam. I can't remember what that's called. Big blasty weapon, pew pew. But what this has, that the original Banshee has got, is a crest around its back of its head, which, funnily enough, kind of looks like a lion's mane. So it is literally a case that the Banshee Norn is representative of the lion from the tapestry, the Lady Unicorn. Now, I heard someone just a second ago mention something about, isn't that our crest?
Yeah.
So if you are unaware, the national animal of Scotland, any Scottish people in the house? Hey! So the national animal of Scotland is the unicorn. And on the coat of arms for Scotland, for the longest time, this was it. It was 2 unicorns. Until somebody who thought he was the king of everything, one James III, decided to be king of both England and Scotland. And when do you know what the animal of England is? Lion. It's the lion. So guess what he did? He put a lion and a unicorn on the coat of arms. Now, this isn't any way directly related to Gundam Unicorn, but it is an interesting fact to note that the Banshee and the Unicorn are both enemies throughout the series, which obviously England and Scotland, some would say even today, are mortal enemies. They were, there was a lot of fighting and war between the two of them, funnily enough, for a long time. But once they came together, much like spoilers in the series, the Banshee becomes a good guy. I won't tell you who it is or anything like that, but needless to say, the Banshee starts as an enemy, turns into a friend, but a tenuous friend with a common goal. They're not joined and we're best friends now, we're going to be buddy forever. It's more of a tenuous alliance towards a greater goal, which can be represented in the combination between the lion and the unicorn on the coat of arms. That's my own sort of I'm throwing my own interpretation upon something that already exists, but I like it, so I think that works for me. And if it works for me, I don't care if it doesn't work for anyone else, to be perfectly honest. So what's next in one? Oh, I put this in the... okay, so I didn't put this in the wrong place. I just got the wrong title for the thing. So next in the list, hey, what? It's another Gundam series. Hooray! It's not SD Gundam World Heroes. This is Gundam Build Divers. If you're unaware of Gundam Build Divers, there's a series of 4 Gundam series, 4 Gundam anime, where do you know Toys for to Life, where you had the Disney Infinity and Skylanders?
Yeah.
This is what that was. You have your toy, you put it on a base, and then it becomes a character in the game. And they decided to turn that into an anime, and that was the original build. Well, what was it called? Gundam Build. No, before Fighters. It was like a 4-episode miniseries where the build. Say again?
I wanted to say it was like Build Dives Meta.
No, it was literally came out like 5 years before Gundam Build Fighters even came out. Anyway, needless to say, that's not considered part of this canon or anything like that. But in the main stories, you got Gundam Build Fighters Try, and in the 3rd season. So the first 2 seasons was literally you put your toy in the game and it came to life, and the Gundams that you built yourself, just like you could buy at home, kids, came to life, and they fought each other. In the 3rd series, they saw that VR was big, so they decided to transition it to a VR world. So you scan your Gundam in, and then the Gundam comes to life inside of Sword Art Online.
That's not good.
No, it's not just no.
There's 2 VR-based series, so Gundam Build Divers and then Gundam Build Divers Re-Arise, which is a direct sequel to this. So this isn't the one. The second of these is literally like you die in the game, you die for real. This one isn't that. There's a lot of nostalgia again. Every single mobile suit, there's basically no original mobile suits at all in this series. Every single one is a mobile suit that you would have seen somewhere else. So this is the 00 Diver. So it's the 00 from Gundam 00. The top one is the Gundam Age-2 Magnum, which is based off the Age-2 from Gundam Age. This is the Momo Kapul, which if you've seen the best Gundam series, Gundam Turning Gundam, it's the couple from that, which is one of the main grunt suits that used by the heroes in that series. So yeah, everything was reuse, but it told a fun enough story. Nothing. It's all about. It turns into is AI life real life story as it goes along. Should we be saving somebody that's not real if it jeopardizes everybody else's fun? The message gets a bit weird. But for our purposes today, I want to talk about these 2 lovely fellows here. So, as I mentioned to you, this is the Age-2 Magnum, and its pilot, whose name I have right here. Download again. Hello. Koya Kusugi. So he is the head of what is called a Gundam Force. So this is an MMO Gundam series. So everyone has a guild. His guild, which are called Forces, is called Avalon. And if you are up to date with your hip new current Arthurian lore, you will know that Avalon is A, the place that Excalibur, the magical sword wielded by King Arthur, was forged, and B is where they laid his body to rest after he dies, and he will come back from again, much like Jesus, to save us at the end of the world. He'll roll out of his cave. Real lore. So everyone that's part of his guild, they're very knightly, they're very he's chivalrous. If you look at his design with his blonde hair, blue eyes, it kind of matches a lot of... If you've played or watched any Fate Stay Night, then you'll realise, oh yes, he follows the same tropes as King Arthur in the Fate series. Specifically, Fate Prototype, Arthur, similar kind of design cues, pretty blonde boy, who's got, what's this? Is that a magical glowing sword? Yeah, that's yellow. Why, that's almost like a certain attack from Fate Stay Night, which hopefully I should be able to pull up to illustrate this purpose. No, not that one. Not that one. Wait a second.
Not that one.
Uh,
Not that one.
Oh wait, here we go. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Bam.
I would have probably done that. In
We've updated our terms of services. Why has it signed me out? Why?
It's been doing that recently to make you agree to the terms of service, but then you still have to log in again.
God. Oh, I know why. I know exactly why. It's because Edge.
Ah.
Kids don't use Microsoft Edge. I only use it for work because everything is integrated into it.
Yeah.
Here we go. So yes, this is episode 13. So this is completely out of context. But if you have ever played anything Fate Stay Night related or watched Fate Stay Night related, you'll recognise this attack in a second. Also, if you know what G Gundam is, that is Devil Gundam in this series as well.
That's Sarah. I remember. I look so
That's a big sword.
Yeah, literally. Now, whereas he doesn't say it in the anime, the name of the attack is called EX Caliber. And to reiterate the point, which is actually on the actual presentation itself, which was spoilers. Oh no, I went.
Back again.
I went the wrong way. There she is. This is also. Is this episode 13 as well? That'd be a funny coincidence if that is the case. This is from Saint Zero.
Best boy.
Fun fact, did you know that Fate Zero, the anime, is technically non-canon to Fate Stay Night? Because in Fate Stay Night, Gilgamesh didn't know about Excalibur. But he clearly sees it here right now.
Maybe he...
But due to the time
Due to the, who cares?
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
the free.
Yeah. Also, like, maybe it destroyed his memory of it.
Yeah.
It was so powerful.
He did a lot of.
Isn't like every heroic spirit a copy?
previous summonings.
That doesn't apply to Gilgamesh. Spoilers.
Maybe this just broke his brain.
Yeah, I mean that actually is true. But anyway, it's something that in the original light novel he doesn't see this, but in the anime he does. Some people get really anal about it.
Explain what happened at the end of the series.
上昇の王は高らかにヘミコの奇跡の神明を歌うそうはエクスカリバー
But yeah, literally the exact same attack. Although it should be noted that also in the previous Gundam fight, he was fighting the Devil Gundam, and he does use a big sword, much akin to the Shining Finger sword from G Gundam as well. So it is an homage to G Gundam, but an obvious homage to Fate as well. There you go. Wonderful. What's next on our list? Oh yeah, and just to reiterate the Fate connection as well. Yes, Avalon is obviously mentioned in Fate as well. This is just a clip straight from Fate Go. Merlin's noble phantasm is Garden of Avalon, and this is how it's represented in game.
know, there is an anime that
星の
people
宇宙
use.
海の
Not sped up 2 times.
君たちの物語
Wait, it's possible to not have it sped up 2 times?
ガーデン・オブ・アマロ
It gives you health regeneration and much above some time. But it's pretty good. There you go.
Yeah.
And if for anybody else, yes, that was represented in the Babylonian anime, but it is like from the very end of the anime, more or less. So I didn't want to completely spoil stuff.
Okay.
So here's our first thing that isn't actually Gundam related. Isn't that crazy? This dashing young literal Nazi, not even sugarcoating it. He is just a Nazi, but they couldn't give him a swastika on his shirt, so yeah, that's basically an SS uniform. Count Strocker from Mazinger Z, sorry. It is Mazinger Z, because that's how they pronounce it in the Japanese as well. If you aren't aware of Mazinger Z, very, very, very famous giant robot anime for the 70s, created by Go Nagai, the person that also created Devilman and Cutie Honey. One of the villains was a Nazi commander who died, and to save his life, they separated his head from his body and made him a cyborg. And now he just carries around. His head can float as well. His head can just float in the air. But he's a recurring villain throughout the entire series of Mazinger Z. Now, it's more likely that his design is... I'm trying to obviously link this to British stuff. I'm not au fait, particularly with yokai. Japanese mythological creatures and whatnot. There probably is a similar creature or spirit that carries around their head. But obviously, the closest one is the Headless Horseman, which was based off of the Doulahan, which was a Headless Horseman and their Headless Horse. Again, very similar to the Banshee I previously mentioned. It's a woe bringer. It's if you see one of these, it's not so much, they're kind of like a Grim Reaper and are sometimes depicted with scythes, but they have a horseman, they have a carriage to cart away souls of the dead to the afterlife. It's more of like a, hey, I'm here to pick you up, you're dead now kind of thing. Less of a sort of scary kind of creature, but obviously they are a headless horseman with a headless horse. So it's hard not to look at that and go, ah! It's a bit scary. And obviously famously adapted this concept of a horseless... Horseless headless horseman, that is something, isn't it?
The horseless headman.
Just a man.
The horseless headless horseman is actually something, and I can't remember what the references to. That's it, Team Fortress 2 is the horseless headless horseman, who has a head because it's a pumpkin. Anyway, Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod Crane, that's the... Most people, if they think of a headless horseman, they think of Sleepy Hollow and Ichabod Crane and Mr. Toad. Funnily enough, there you go. And for our anime lovers here, as mentioned earlier, Seldy Sturluson is a headless horseman whose horse is a bike, funnily enough, doesn't have any front headlights because it's a headless horse. So the bike doesn't have any front headlights on it because it's headless. And spoilers, as revealed in the first episode, she doesn't have a head. The main plot point is that she can't find her head, and that's her driving force throughout the series, is to try and find her head again. And yet, from Ichabod and Mr. Toad, the Headless Horseman, I've not actually watched it. I actually found out that it's not actually a real person, it's not a real spirit, it's actually a prank or something like that. I don't know too much about Sleepy Hollow because it's American literature? Why would I read American literature?
I've read it, it's really dull. Any adaptation has taken it and done something great with it. The original story is just...
Fair enough. Case in point, the only adaptation I have watched is about 5 minutes from the end of the, what's his face? Tim Burton version, where it's Christopher Walken is the Headless Horseman, and he's a headless Haitian. And he finds his skull and he puts it back on, and it's got a really gory scene. It's really cool. Especially for early 2000 CGI. Anyway. But yeah, just to illustrate, he does have a giant robot, and in Mazinger Z Infinity, he gets his own personalized giant robot version of himself. And if you are aware, this is from Super Robot Wars 30, which came out, 4 years ago? 5 years ago? To illustrate the fact that he has a floating head. And his robot has a floating head as well.
もはや貴様もこれまで服従させてやれ
Absolutely burping.
Poor pony.
If you pay an extra £20, you get the actual lyrics to this song. There you go. Count broken, everyone. How we doing? Time we blitzing through this, unfortunately. Yes. But this brings me directly on to just some honourable mentions in terms of Doolahans. So this is Doolahanmon from Digimon. Now people will be asking, oh wait a minute, that's not a Mecha series. Yeah, it is. Machine Dramon, or if you're feeling spicy, Mugen Dramon. But yes, Doolahanmon very recently added to the Digimon reference book. I believe they were referenced in Digimon Liberator, which is I think it's just ended comic and light novel series that is leading up to, it's the Yu-Gi-Oh! Of Digimon. So it's literally about people going to the digital world to play card games to save the world type stuff. But yeah, as noticed, horse, no head, rider, no head. Although technically he has got a head, it's just attached to the end of a chain and he throws it at people instead.
That feels nauseating.
And if you wanted any other direct references to anything Mecha related, here's a picture of the card for Victory Greymon doing the famous Obari pose, which was first ever featured in one of the earliest animes by the director Obari, X-Kaiser, first of the Brave series. If you don't know about Brave series, when Bandai wanted to make Transformers toys, but they couldn't because they didn't have a license with Takara anymore, they said, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves, and thus created a series of transforming robots, not called Transformers. That began with the series X-Kaiser, Brave, it was X-Kaiser, then it was my game. But one of the threads between all of the series is that they reused old Transformers designs for some of the characters in the series. There is a police car robot in the series, Brave Police Jade Decker, who is literally 6 shots from Transformers, but with a police ninja design on him instead. Very cool. King of Braves, Gal Gaigar is the final version of it. Gal Gaigar is brilliant. Go watch Gal Gaigar. I can't stress enough. That's probably, if you're going to watch any Brave series, it's out there. It's available on Crunchyroll, subbed and dubbed. What excuse do you have other than the evil AI and bad money policies of Crunchyroll? Anyway, that was just to really tie it into that. This is Mecha related,
Is it on?
albeit very. Wish there was a good way to do this. Oh, yeah, yeah. So yes,
That's all accurate, yeah.
I got it 2010. Now clearly says 2006, but whatever. Don't read Wikipedia, kids. I barely remember watching Code Geass, and I didn't watch a lot of it. I'll be perfectly honest. However, Clamp, yes, the same people that did all of those pretty girl designs back in the 90s also designed the characters for Code Geass.
And the 80s.
And also that cool JoJo Dojin as well, where Captain needs an egg. So yeah, political intrigue, magical pretty boys, Raw Britannia. Giant robots are actually quite small in this, about 2 people's heights, but you know, it doesn't stop them from being cool giant robots either way. Raw Britannia, because the main bad guys is Britain, basically. They've taken over a lot of the place, and that's bad. Imperialism is bad, funnily enough. But that's modern day stuff. So what has it got to do with old shit? I heard you liked memes from the early 2000s.
That absolutely.
So yes, there's the common themes, whatever, going around of knights, stuff like that. But the most on the nose things are: this guy's name is Lancelot. This guy's name is Galahad. This guy's name is Gawain, who are, funnily enough, knights of the Round Table. And also, Lancelot is piloted by the guy that betrays the main character. Oh, funnily enough, hey, isn't that exactly what Lancelot does in For Real Legend? He bangs King Arthur's wife.
He was a French fanfiction insert character, Lancelot. He's not in the original stories.
Yes.
That's true. That is true.
So yeah, but also some other cool little tidbits in some of the side stories. This is called the Arundite, which, funnily enough, looks a lot like the Lancelot. That's because Arundite, oh, no, it was already on the screen, I couldn't see it, is the sword of Lancelot. It's a support unit for the Lancelot that's named after Lancelot's sword. Hey, that's a nice little bonus for you. But it's in a side story, as far as I'm aware. It's not in the main anime or anything like that. Plus, there are some other very on-the-nose units called Grail units. And if you aren't aware, obviously, the whole point of King Arthur in a lot of later tales is that he's hunting for the Holy Grail. And he is very silly doing it. We have one ourselves. I told them we had a Holy Grail. Now, here we go. This is the most tangent that I could ever tangent with this one. So, who knows what Power Rangers is? Hey, who knows what Super Sentai is? So, yeah, Super Sentai. Technically, there are not 50 Super Sentai series. There are 49. It's just that one series has 2 teams of Sentai in it, so they went...
Spider-Man count.
Yes, Spider-Man and his team of friends. Yes, if you aren't aware, the reason why Super Sentai got back into the things is because Spider-Man became a big tokusatsu. If you don't know what tokusatsu is, it means special effects, literally in Japanese, but it is a style of filmmaking that uses props and miniatures, basically Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Godzilla, all that stuff is classified under tokusatsu. So yes, 50 different teams of Super Sentai died a pitiful, cowering death this year with the series Gojuja, not least because of the controversies around one of the main characters was caught, I believe, drinking underage, and thus her talent agency dropped her. And if you're not part of the talent agency, you can't work for the series anymore. So they had to completely cut her character out of the series with the worst editing possible, like literal cropping the screen that you couldn't see her, or the whole. You'd be like, she'll just her Ranger form, where she's transformed, will turn up at the end of the episode with no explanation to where she was for the rest of it. They recast her, and they just say, oh, I had a magical transformation to help me with my journey to become a high-class detective.
They could have had her be the actress's original character. It would have been funnier.
I mean,
Or they could have
they
stood
could
up
have
to
done
the actress and saved her in
literally
the first
anything.
place.
They could have just killed her off and had her sister replace her as a main
Yes.
character in the series. Apart from that, the story goes all over the place. It has no focus. The effects are bad and a lot. It's like, for this to be the final Super Sentai series, it was pitiful.
Opening seems great though.
This should have been
It's no
better.
John Brothers.
It should have been better.
Dojo.
Now, however, there is a new series currently on Project Red, Space Seraph Gavan Infinity. It is literally just Super Sentai with a different name. It's barely any different from any other Super Sentai. It's got the same tone. It's got a team of rangers. It's no different. It's just got a different name on the front. However, it's got a cool sequence where they have to, much like in Gao Gaiga, and they have to have approval to launch the giant robots, and everyone has to put a thumbprint down. If you've ever seen Shin Godzilla, where there's a whole the bad guy of the film is bureaucracy. There's a lot of bureaucracy that goes into Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity as well. It's just drawn. It's fun to watch, but it is very silly. I think it's already by episode 4 they've already shortened the sequence to like 2 thumbprints because before it was like 20 people had to agree to launch the giant robot. Anyway, so yes. So in the 90s, we know that a little indie developer, Haim Saban, decided to actually go ahead with the idea of taking. So these are. No, what's the first bit? Dinosaur Squadron Q Ranger.
Kyoryu, dinosaur. Kyoryu Sentai?
Kyoryu Sentai Ranger.
Kyoryu Sentai Ju Ranger, that's it. So yes, ancient dinosaur spirit people that are protectors of the earth. They're not teenagers with attitude. They are very much not teenagers at all. This is Super Android Matilda. This is Kamen Rider Black EX, which of course. Oh wait. Oh, it didn't do the thing.
To be fair, I can't stand the guy in the middle's Japanese version either. So.
I'll just do it this way. So obviously that became Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This and also 2 other series. So what are they? So Matilda, Spielbahn, and Scheider became VR Troopers.
Yeah.
And obviously Kamen Rider Black RX became Masked Rider with furthers. Now here's something that was pointed out to me the other day from a video I was watching. With the furry design and the beak, he actually predates Furbies.
Yeah.
So this is your proto-Furby. You have to blame Furbies for the Furby, apparently. But obviously we had the slice of the pie where we went, oh wow, we've taken this stock footage and we've created our own series, but we really want to make something of our own, something that we can say, we made that, we don't have to hire out additional footage from somewhere else. If we want to make changes, we want to create stuff, anything that we want, we can do it wherever we want. And thus, did it that time. This is Haim Saban's own Tokusatsu series from 1998.
It also looks like Xena.
It was very much of that time. But they didn't get the memo where they had to be, I mean, probably those suits would probably break apart if they tried to move too much. But like, I'm gonna get you.
See,
Wow.
I will say the CG is actually better than a lot of Super Sentai at the time.
how have I not heard of this?
Why was that
So
the
yes,
German opening?
this is loosely based.
Well, apparently, I guess it was
on
successful
a
enough to get
mythical
translated.
island. And before anybody asks, Northern Ireland is in Great Britain, so technically it still falls into the
Not Great Britain.
United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, Northern Ireland.
Not in Great Britain.
Yeah, there's a whole weird political thing about this.
Just
Well, I'm going by
accept that
the
one,
longest
yeah.
country name in the world's definition of Great Britain.
But not in Great Britain.
It's Britain, it is part of it.
Yeah, it's part of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Just as part of the UK.
Whatever, I put it this panel together, it's my rules. Whatever. Also, there's a nice thing of Mummies Alive up there.
It's just
Resisting the urge to just watch the Mummies Alive intro.
Why doesn't she get leg armor?
You know why.
She's a speedy one, and then she needs to run really fast.
So I'm immediately thinking she's better than everyone else, yeah?
She's got the range weapon. She doesn't know. She's got the Blighty. She could just literally take anybody out.
Fucking-
So yeah, Fantasy Island. We make our own tokusatsu with blackjack and hookers. Fun fact. So if you did not know, Disney bought Power Rangers in the early 2000s, and that's why Power Rangers changed very different. There's a very different tone between Wild Force going to Ninja Storm in terms of just how everything's sort of put together, especially the sound effects. You know a Disney series by the sound effects that they use. But a part of that sale was also Mystic Nazatian and Og. For all accounts, Saban didn't buy Mystic Knights back from Disney. So technically Disney owns the rights to this now, so if you want a new series of this, or if you want it on Disney Plus, now's the time. Petition now. I barely remember it. I think I watched the first couple of episodes when I was like 9, 10, and immediately went, this isn't Power Rangers, what am I doing here?
So Power Rangers isn't Xena, what are we doing?
See, I was watching Xena, I was watching Hercules, well, I was watching Hercules more than I was watching Xena, to be perfectly honest.
It's a baby.
And they crossed over. So yeah, it is what it is. Where are we at? Oh, we're actually going a lot longer than I thought. I am going to finish before so you'll get extra time back to you as well. So I briefly mentioned Super Robot Wars already, but this is probably the most, well, much to like how some series literally just name, riff, different characters and things like that. So there are 3 games in the Super Robot Wars series that are placed in terms of storyline related. OG, OG2, and OG Moon Dwellers. These games have all original characters, so whereas Super Robot Wars you see here, you've got Gundams, you've got Gurren Lagann, you've got Dunbine, you've got Might Gain, Wing Gundam, etc. The OG series is all original Mecha. So they're all created by Banpresto specifically for the game, which is why, because obviously having all of these IPs together in the past was a logistical nightmare to try and bring anything out across into the West, the OG games didn't have that problem. So we actually got translated versions of those games on the Game Boy Advance, which is how I first ever found out the games in the first place. But one of the characters is this guy here, who is an evil alternate version of one of the main characters from Original Generations 2, Kyosuke Nyambu, called Beowulf.
Wow.
Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Beowulf, isn't there some Norse bullshit nonsense? No, it's an old English poem.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of fan fiction by a bunch of people back in the, when was it? What have we got down here?
It is from a time when England was Norse, let's put it that way.
Something century.
Like the language is written, it is officially
5th to
called
6th
Old
century, there you
English,
go.
but it is also like, I think Norwegian is probably closer to modern English than
3,182
that one.
alliterative lines preserved in a Noel Codex recounting heroes' battles with Grendel, blah, blah, blah. I think most of you did either GCSE or you did your SATs or A-levels or something in English on Beowulf at some point in your life.
I don't know what that
This
means.
is very much just isn't the name Beowulf kind of cool kind of things. The main character, the main theme is called Steel Beowulf as well, but it's more just a sort of like, isn't he cool and awesome? Kyosuke's main gimmick, the one who becomes this guy, is that he's really, really lucky. He's like Domino from the X-Men. If you know who Domino from X-Men is, his basic superpower, but not superpower, is that he's just super lucky and he gambles all the time. He always wins when he gambles. But just to reiterate, if you aren't aware what Beowulf is, here's a clip from the god-awful Ray Winston film.
Counter, I am the chief of the darkness, the challenge in the night. Mine is strength and lust and power. I am power!
There you go. That's Beowulf. Funnily enough, this came out at the same time as the Polar Express. Can you tell? It's the uncanny valley side of things. It's not a bad film per se, and it's much like Beowulf. It has a very grim ending at the end, but it has the high level of uncanny valley all the way through. And Grendel is, I never portrayed him as being a ugly golem creature, to be perfectly honest. But that's how they did here. And his mother is extremely hot. Who was it? It was Angelina Jolie, yeah. It was peak Angelina Jolie that they used to portray her as. What the hell?
We love YouTube recommendations.
God almighty. This I understand. That's fine. Oh yeah, also, I think 300 had not long come out before, so the reason why he goes, I am Beowulf, is because This Is Sparta came out a couple of years before, basically. And I think, that's everything that I've put together. Let me just make that full screen for the sake of making so. So yes, all there is to say, thank you very much for turning up. Short and sweet. It was supposed to go on for another about 20 minutes or so, but unfortunately, like I said, it was hard to really, without proper, doing my due diligence and actually putting together a real good panel and making something that's actually enjoyable for a lot of people. For what I put together, this is everything that I could find. You could go much deeper into some of these. I think some of the stuff that Excalibur, obviously, is a name that's used for a lot of weapons throughout a lot of anime. To tangentially, obviously, go back, there is a Kamen Rider Excalibur, for example. Not exactly mecha related, obviously, but we went Super Sentai. Yes, probably. A person who's only watched 3 episodes of Kamen Rider in their life.
I haven't watched any of Saber, but it kind of fits with their theme.
I mean, this is all. But yeah, I was lied to at one point by the disgraceful AI, obviously on Google. They tried to trick me into thinking that Gabolge, the spear of Cuchulainn, if you know who Cuchulainn is, the Lance character in Fate Stay Night, very famous Irish, Celtic, Gaelic hero from the Ulster cycles. He had a magical spear that always causes death. It tried to trick me into thinking that one of the spears created by Sele in Evangelion was Gabolge. It is not. The AI just saw a Reddit post and compared the fact that both of the spears in Evangelion and in Fate Stay Night are red. That is all. But if you want a fan theory, there are multiple Lances of Longinus in Evangelion. If you want to call one of those Gabolge if you want, be my guest. I ain't going to stop you. But yes, thank you very much for coming along. I release you from your mortal coil. You may